check. I declare that the 542nd Convocation of McMaster University for the conferring of degrees is now in session.
Please be seated. Good morning. I am Dr. David Wilkinson, Provost and Vice President Academic of the University. This morning I have the great pleasure of acting as your Master of Ceremonies and of welcoming you all to this Convocation ceremony. Before we start our formal program, may I first ask everyone in the hall to switch off any electronic devices that may ring or beep during the ceremony. I would now like to call upon our Chancellor, Dr. Suzanne Labarge, to make her own welcoming remarks.
Welcome, honored guests, staff, faculty, families, friends, and most importantly, graduands. This is an exciting day for all of you who are graduating today, as well as for all those people who have supported you and stood behind you, and in many cases have had a key role in your being here today. You have achieved a great deal to get here, and you should all be very proud of your success and looking forward to what the future might bring. Congratulations, and enjoy the ceremony.
I would now like to introduce Dr. Patrick Dean, President and Vice Chancellor, who will be presenting the honorary degree recipient.
Madam Chancellor, by the authority of the Senate of McMaster University, I have the honor to present Catherine Frazee. On December the 26th, 2014, the Governor-General of Canada announced the new appointments to the Order of Canada, our nation's highest civilian honor. Catherine Frazee was one of those appointments. As a new member of the Order of Canada, her citation recognized her advancement of the rights of persons with disabilities and her work, quote, as an advocate for social justice. A writer, educator, and an activist for disability rights, Professor Frazee is now a Professor Emerita and former Professor of Distinction and co-director of the RBC Ryerson Institute of Disability Studies, Research and Education at Ryerson University in Toronto. Through her scholarship, activism, teaching, art, and public service, she has challenged barriers to the full social inclusion of people with disabilities and created identifiable change in everything from artistic opportunities to legislation. She served as the Chief Commissioner for the Ontario Human Rights Commission from 1989 to 1992 and has worked for decades to advocate for human rights through her involvement with organizations including the Disabled Women's Network, DAWN, and the Canadian Abilities Foundation. She has chaired the Values and Ethics Task Force of the Canadian Association for Community Living and been a long-time and active researcher and commentator on issues such as ethics and bioethics, justice and human rights, disability, arts, and culture. Her work has appeared in publications including Abilities Magazine, Archetype, The Womanist, and the Review of Disability Studies, Volume 5, Number 1, which she co-edited with Leslie Roman. She has also contributed to Out From Under, A Brief History of Everything, Exile from the China Shop, Cultural Injunction and Disability Policy, and Now You See Her, Now You Don't, How Law Shapes Disabled Women's Experience of Exposure, Surveillance, and Assessment in the Clinical Encounter. Professor Frazee's contributions within the arts sector and her ability to use the arts as a vehicle for social commentary, outreach, inclusion, and education have been defining hallmarks of her career. A poet herself, she has helped cultivate opportunities for showcasing the disability experience through her role as a director of the Abilities Arts Festival, co-curator of the touring exhibition Out From Under, Disability, History, and Things to Remember, and her prominent role in the 2006 National Film Board film, Shameless, The Art of Disability. In addition to her recent investiture in the Order of Canada, Professor Frazee has received a number of awards, including honorary degrees and the Arnold Davidson Dunton Alumni Award of Distinction from the Carleton University Alumni Association. She was honored by Independent Living Canada for her contributions to the movement of independent living, and 2009 shared Ryerson University's inaugural Innovative Teaching Award. Chancellor Catherine Frazee has been proclaimed, with good reason, Canada's disability guru. Her work, research, advocacy, and art have helped our country identify and begin to address many of the most important issues related to the disability experience and human rights. For these achievements, I ask, Madam Chancellor, that you confer upon Catherine Frazee the degree Doctor of Laws, honoris causa. Catherine, congratulations.
Catherine Frazee, by the authority of McMaster University Senate, I have the great pleasure to confer upon you the degree Doctor of Laws, honoris causa, in McMaster University with all the rights and privileges pertaining to that degree. I would now like to invite Dr. Frazee to deliver the convocation address.
Thank you. I'm going to put my glasses on. Good morning. Move it to the left a bit, please. That's good. Okay. Madam Chancellor, Mr. President, faculty and colleagues, alumni, special guests, parents, family, friends, and, yes, graduates. I received this beautiful award as an old soldier accepts decoration. In my case, not for great valor, but rather perhaps for a certain persistence, a certain fidelity to cause. I am humbled by the honor bestowed in this moment, and of course, mindful of so very many comrades, some now fallen, many more deserving than myself. Now, I'm a little wary, and I think rightly so, about summoning the old soldier metaphor. But the truth is that I do feel like an old soldier, one who has lost more battles than she has won, but I haven't lost them all. And I have never, ever been alone in defeat. And I assure you all that today, this morning, in this moment, I am not alone in receiving and accepting this honor. So, Convocation. Now, most of you probably haven't done this before, but all of you, I expect, know what happens next, right? One by one, you will be called by name. And one by one, you will propel yourselves across this stage, pausing for a moment to accept your reward for, by my calculations, possibly as many as 10,000 hours of intellectual labor. After that pause and the sweet recognitions of the moment, one by one, you will resume the march of your life. If the whisperings of history have the ear of years to come, it is safe to predict that that march will take you to remarkable places in this country, on this planet, and perhaps beyond. Now, on this particular day of cork popping and embrace, I'm guessing that you may not be thinking about the next 10,000 plus hours of labor that await you just off stage, right? But I am thinking about that, and I at least feel certain that you will have considered them in the quieter moments of mapping and dreaming that led up to today. What I'm saying is, you've made some plans, you've set your sights. From what I know of this great university, and from the disciplines blended in your graduating class, those plans and those sights will constellate around a single core theme, the theme of betterment. Better practice, better research, better policy, better politics, better democracy, better health and well-being, better lives. And this is good, for a broken world awaits you. When your name is called today, please just catch yourself for an instant as you take that first stride forward. And know that in this moment, you are being called into service. Today, you are summoned to the great labor of humankind, the labor of making the world, the earth, the human family a little better. The work of betterment will happen in your office, in your consulting room, your studio, your kitchen, and your backyard. It will happen each time you cast your lot, each time you dare to ask what needs to be asked, each time you question your own intentions or the wisdom of your leaders, each time you check in on Twitter and YouTube. Betterment will be as ubiquitous as your reach in life extends. So what is demanded of you? Well, ask any old soldier, and the response will be the same: courage. I have in mind 4 courageous states. The first of these, the courage to speak out. Though your words may quiver and your palms may sweat, though the wall of resistance from your peers and your critics may be formidable, find your voice and speak. Speak with humility when you are certain, and speak with integrity when you have doubt. Speak with measure and respect, making way for those who are afraid or disheartened to speak as well. Please know that speech is your power, and use it wisely. The second courageous state, the courage to sit down. In the words of a fallen comrade, dear poet Laura Hershey, when I say courage, I mean you sitting next to me, talking, both of us refusing to compare or to hate ourselves. Permit in your world no category for abject, no human being so reduced, so pitiable, so strange or fearful as to be ever unworthy of your time and attention. Instead, believe me, or better still, believe that quiet, courageous voice of your own humanity, that wisdom, knowledge, and beauty live and breathe in forms that you have never imagined. Sit down without dread or distance and meet them openly. The third courageous state, to grieve and still care. Our beloved planetary home is gravely endangered, as you all know. More than half of all the Earth's mammals, birds, and other species extinct in the past 40 years. And the assaults upon our human family, more devastating still, upon Aboriginal women, upon racialized young men, upon people with disabilities caught up in the quiet advance of eugenic thinking, upon displaced, dispossessed, and dehumanized populations everywhere. In the face of such great grief, Norwegian psychologist Per Espen Stoknes reminds us that we must work through sorrow and rage to redouble our commitment to the service of all still living. Courage does not permit us to collapse into grief. And finally, as so beautifully expressed in the Quran, the courage to repel evil with something lovelier. For you will encounter evil, monstrous greed and hatred, epidemics of indifference and stubborn ignorance, shameless pandering to fear and vanity, all ugly and too familiar notches on the continuum of human violence and contempt. They will stare back at you from the morning paper and the evening news, and from places more chilling and proximate. But resolve never to return fire. Never be reckless of how harm begets harm. That is not the way of betterment. Instead, please, take to your craft and create a new image or metaphor, a new alliance of equals, a new window on the world. Offer always something that is better, something brilliant and good. Graduates, this is your day. And of course, congratulations are in order, but there is something else that this old soldier wants to say to you. And that is quite simply, thank you. For here, and I close with this, a true story from the trenches of my experience. When not long ago, with the thunderous clamor of defeat ringing in my ears, I fell into a very dark place, a place of alternating waves of sorrow, rancor, and fear. It was an agony deep and inconsolable by the usual measures of sunshine, sleep, and the sweet understanding murmurs of the woman I love. But it dissolved utterly when someone I did not even know turned up in my inbox. A young scholar whose bold ideas and fearless expression shook me loose from my misery and filled the hollowed-out chambers of my heart with something very fierce, something very much like courage. What had that young woman written? Well, truth be told, it's actually happened more than once. Most recently, it was a proposal for a new course, Justice and the Good Human Life. But you know, at other times it has been a letter to the editor, a song, a line of poetry, a blog post, a knockout chapter title, a YouTube video, a funding proposal. I get discouraged a lot, you see. Yet again and again, every time I do, it seems there is a young scholar, an activist, a blogger or poet who pulls me back from the brink, who dazzles me with the beauty of an idea born from the love of justice. And don't believe for one moment that I'm the only old soldier on this stage, or that I'm alone in this experience of sudden rescue. You have done this. I'll bet money on it. You have written a paper or made a comment in class or stood up to be heard in the world. And in that moment, without your knowledge or intention, you have brought the thrill of new hope to one of your faculty, one of your parents, one of your mentors, one of the perfect strangers out there in a world that is deeply, deeply hungry for your gifts. So graduates, it's now over to you. And this old soldier salutes you. Thank you. Pick up my hand.
Thank you. That was wonderful. Thank you very much for your comments, Dr. Frazee. When we talk about people with courage, Dr. Frazee represents what can be done with someone with courage. Not only has she overcome her disabilities to become and fulfill her full potential as a professional researcher, teacher, and a contributor to the arts, but she didn't rest there. As you heard from her citation, she gave back to the community to make sure that other people facing discrimination, either because of their disabilities or because of their race, have an equal chance. What it says to all of us is that there's no reason for any of us to not reach our full potential. She is the best example of what can be done by using courage and the resources that you have to be what you should be. And we thank her very much for that and are delighted to have her as part of the McMaster community.
Dr. Patrick Dean will now come forward to present the graduands to our Chancellor for admission to their degrees.
Will the graduands please stand? Chancellor, on behalf of McMaster University Senate, I present to you these candidates in order that you may confer the appropriate degrees upon them, and I bear witness that they are worthy and suitable. May I also request that you confer the appropriate degrees in absentia upon all those candidates who have successfully completed the required course of study, but who are not present.
Graduands, by my authority and that of the McMaster University Senate, I have the great pleasure to admit those before me today and those in absentia to their individual degrees in McMaster University with all the rights and privileges pertaining to those degrees. My sincere congratulations to you all. Please be seated.
Graduates, I now ask each of you to join me on stage so that the Chancellor and I may welcome you into the McMaster community of scholars.
Ladies and gentlemen, so that each graduate's name may be heard, it would be appreciated if during the presentation of the graduands, you would hold your collective applause to the end of each degree category. Thank you. Madam Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduate of the degree Doctor of Philosophy, Michelle Patience Heather Gilbert. Madam Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduate of the degree Master of Arts. Madison Margaret Bridges. Madam Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Bachelor of Arts Honors. Harry Aceman, Rita Abdel Baki, David Dandre Absalam, Lindsay Adam, Maha Ahmad, Alexa Aiken, Rebecca Caitlin Alexander, Alana Renee Amlinger, Sinyi Victoria Anderson, Shauna Elizabeth Arnold, Claudia Babashevsky, Philip James Badaway, Megan Ann Batchelor, Anissa Belkade, Katiza Bibi, Fatma bin Othman, Bailey Binns, Paula Boanta, Christina Borowick, Sarah Bradshaw, Madison Bratty, Kirsten Stephanie Broders, Derek Mackenzie Brown, Claire Christina Brown, Katrina Janet Budgel, Carly Jessica Burr, Stephanie Victoria Burton, Brittany Button, Ozcan Kalaskan, Alejandra Cale Hernandez, Ashley Carnegie, Haley Carpenter, Antonella Carreri, Victoria Letitia Cartagena, Lindsay Marie Cheskia. Isabel Chalmers. Zachary Wade Daniel Champagne. Vincent Dominique Tai Yin Chan. Winnie Mae Chan. Patrina Kelly Chu. Parul Shabra. Yu Shi. Emily Joy Chong. Kendra Christensen. Carol Chung. Emily Victoria Pauline Chikonsky. Emily Patricia Cole. Haley Anita Coppins. Alexandra Korek. Megan Elizabeth Simus Costa. Jacqueline Rebecca Costable. Leah Coutu. Allison Maria Kronk. Leanna Das. Jenna Marie DiGiulio. Amanda Lee DeConning. Peter DeMaio. Emily Dennis. Shannon Despond. Melody DeVries. Sandeep Kaur Dillon. Melissa DePede. Linda Emily Diaz. Larissa Marie DiPartolo. Paula DeCecca. Patricia Diamond Doherty. Christian Michelle Doucette. Sabrina Douglas. Kimberly Alexis Dowell. Jamie Grohan. Jacqueline Yvette Duarte Rodriguez. Namisha Dubé. Samra Abadi. Emily Edward. Santiago Escobar Bermudez. Emily Esho. Anton Falco. Mimi Fang. Vanessa Rachel Fernando. Stephanie Marie Ferruccio. Caitlin Fuglicek. Kelsey Ann Gammy. Ben Allen Gardner. Danielle Gattinger. Alexandria Erin Geertz. Brian Georgievsky. Victoria Giudici. Jillian Amanda Goltz. Dean William Gruchevsky. Samantha Gunn. Stephanie Nicole Guerrieri. Rubina Charlampus. Srimuna Gurung. Caitlin Elizabeth Hagopian. Alexandra Hadjas. Zachary Edward Hartley. Jessica Elaine Haskins. Natalie Ann Haralishan. Caitlin Elizabeth Hendershot. Taylor Brittany Holdsworth. Leona Lynn Houston. Anna Hudson. Jenna Erin Hunter. Rebecca Johns. Lucia Jara. Roxanne Jaworski. Megan Rebecca Jeffries. Krista Jonathan. Beulah Perpetual Joseph. Takeshi Kanaya. Sabine Kazmi. Miriam Imad Kello. Cara Ray Kemp. Matthew William Kitt. Rihanna Clamott. Sophia Coe. Catherine Julia Kozia. Tharshni Krishna Kumaran. Vivian Mary Customans. Elizabeth Catherine Ann Quichan. Alice Ching Na Kwok. Laura Francesca Lamura. Dipesh Ladd. Michaela Catherine Logo. Jamie Lai. Michaela Nicole Langdon. Jake Robert Langstaff. Jocelyn Luau. Simone Lazarou. Madison Lee. Shannon Laura Linky. Conrad Tomas Lisney. Zachary James Livshin. Heather Lloyd. Rita Lo Giudice. Lindsay Jade Logan. Shauna Marie Lubrick. Carmen Carman Louis. Tina Luley. Michelle McFarlane. Julia Christine Maiolino. Michaela Christina Mancini. Olivia Maria Mantic. Victoria Jessie Jean Marshall. Athena Aspasia Masoti. Samantha Matty. Kayla Michelle Mazipa. Christopher McAnally. Sandra McKay. Stephanie Medeiros. Victoria Medeiros. Estefan Emilio Mejia. Inji Metwali. Jessica Mariah Mina. Jacob Ryan Mitchell. Shanique Mohinu. Nigel Anthony Monez. L. McPhee Morgan. Deanna Mora. Katie Willis Mukush. Mark Benjamin Mulder. Mega Nagar. Rhonda Lynn Nagel. Rania Nizrat Nasser. Christine Mary Newbigging. Catherine Wynn. Alessandra Noche. Masima Nosrati Inanlu. Andrea Andama Nwabuki. Liam Francis Joseph O'Toole. Adiola Terry Obashisan. Elizabeth Abina Opuko. Doreen Abina Apong Saufo. Leah Danielle Oraskovich. Leah Elizabeth Pantich. Matthew Pianessa. Delaney Mariah Aaron Park. Urelina Palowski. David Lloyd Perryman. Lindsay Aaron Pure. Sabrina Nicole Pfeiffer. Michelle Kimberly Ann Pickett. Elise Pucarati. Rebecca Tolemi Checo. Melissa Pyfinch. Megan Elizabeth Quaid. Sumaru Rukraj. Nikita Rao. Jacob Alexander James Reed. Rachel Margaretha Riley. Nylene Virginia Ramondo. Christina Adelaide Romano. Victoria Sabo. Jasmine Samaniego. Savannah Madden Serene. Aklima Akhtar Sarkar. Benji Ryan Schaefer. Caitlin Schmidt. Shaylin Seminario. Jessica Sherwood. Shama Sheth. Alexandria Marie Siena. Michelle Simeone. Christina Severina Simonetti. Sorry. Gurneet Kaur Singh. Allison Sinha. Ryan Ann Smith. Sean Harold Smith. Shivani Vinodini Sukar. Sonia Stellato. Chloe Savannah Stevenson. Danielle Lynn Stravosky. Sydney Geraldine Stonia. Emily Patricia Sully. Alia Taha. Josephine Taiello. Gavsiga Tharmakumar. Viragi Thiruchelman. Johanna Thum. Chelsea Alexandra Shaw Tidd. Jennifer Laura Toal. Paolina Vincenza Tomorcio. Jessica Madeline Tristani. Shanae Loran Turnbill. Madison Danielle Van Roltree. Jody Lynn Van Woudenberg. Nathan John Van Woudenberg. Joanne J. Velasco. Stephen Ventresca. Kimberly Ann Vogt. Megan Mackenzie Vukolich. Kendra Caitlin Waite. Deanna Ray Watson. Chelsea Waters Wybrow. Sarah Michelle Weber. Erica Michelle Whites. Sarah Jenny Wells. Lindsay Rose Wellstead. Katarina Westenberg. Cynthia Ann Wickett. Michelle Lily Wilkinson. Cynthia Tiffany Williams. Stephanie Esprit Sapinka Williams. Brittany Lynn Wilson. Rachel Wilt. Evan David Winston. Salem Waldo. Samantha Wood. Rena Yang. Brina Paula Young. Emily Lillian Young. Georgina Deanna Zudima.
Madam Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Social Work. Zainab Alwad. Lois Allen. Courtney Amber Bell. Catherine Bombery. Jessica Benila Dempty. Brittany Kelly Burnside. Heidi Nicole Burton. Melissa Carrillo. Angus Call Smith. Victoria Lynn Doherty. Kelsey Doherty. Eden Hope Duddy. Michelle Julie Guest. Sarah Jean Hepburn. Brittany Hunt. Rachel Ill. Michelle Relinda Coobs. Craig Marinick. Chavez Christopher McDonald. Irene Marguerite Menagi. Stephanie Moffett. Kanwardeep Panu. Chantal Paveo. Wendy Polquin. Deborah Ramey. Liza Ritchie. Sumathi Sangaran Pillai. Rebecca Semu. Rebecca Shellick. Romita Sir. Karthika Thusanadan. Isabel Shigo. Ashley Turner. Angelina Christine Vaccaro. Amy Vanderlind. Rebecca Jillian Wardlaw. Taralyn Marie Williamson. Aaron Yeeman. Madam Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Bachelor of Social Work. Lisa Crapsey. Ava Alexandria Franz. Daniel Young. Victoria Ann Lane. Kristen Leona Mannanen. Kathleen Diane Mockler. Shelley Lee Omand. Jacqueline Michelle Robinson. Sarah Alexandra Roney. Rory Schaefer. Sarah Wright.
Madam Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Bachelor of Arts. Trevor Lewis Ablett. Abdurrahmemi Adenusi. Sudaba Ahmadi. Nazneen Alam. Habib Al-Kayat. Caitlin Ames. Gloria Angela Atieno. Ikhra Awan. Michael Braden Ayres. Sabah Balusha. Donna Jo Biletti. Eric Mate Billebrook. Marie Beauvert-Lheureux. Maggie Jean Bowen. Natalie Bukovets. Abdul Hanan Butt. Belle Carmona. Victoria Carter. Simone Katrina Maria Caruso. Ramia Charles. Stephanie Ling Che Chow. Adam Jeremy Colalio. Sarah Annette Corrigan. Shahzad Crooks. Nicole Cunningham. Stephanie D'Amico. Alison Daly. Helen Dam. Caitlin DeVoe. Adam Christian Dick. Carla DiLorio. Michelle Teresa Dowell. Alexandra Larissa Doal. Daniel Dirda. Peter Adam Jejic. Diana Juba. Ashley Ann Edwards. Carrie Patricia Evelyn. Catherine Fantinich. Matthew John Farrell. Brendan Michael Fitzpatrick. Teddy Robert Floria. Samantha Falk. Yodia Fong. Joyce Lei Yi Fung. Jessica Ruth Nolan Geisler. Joel Gellenze. Sarah Eileen Janisch. Rachel Ann Gomez. Kathleen Megan Gorey. Alicia Graziani. Ashley Haley. Taylor Ann Hamilton. Nicolette Elizabeth Harrow. Brittany Heyman. Jennifer Hendricks. Taylor Ray Higgins. Bokai Hong. Christine Elizabeth Hoover. Hanya Imran. Vanessa E. Irova. Katie Ann Jagus. Yang Suk Jang. Nada Yanushevich. Vinija Jayakumar. Jessica Yolink. Shauna Elizabeth Kelly. Nicole Kazar. Tara Diego Cater. Damin Kim. Ivana Kipic. Megan Andrea Klingenberg. Nicola Amy Lake. Jasmine Law. Mackenzie Levitt. Vicky Vasiliki Luby. Jennifer Lutz. Michelle Denise Vaz Mantok. Calvin Carvolt Mareka. Craig Martin. Erica Lynn McCartney. Shauna McCormick. Michelle K. Miller. Rihanna Mitra. Alexandra Monaco. Nicole Isabel Morris. Adam James Morell. Maria Lauren Nelson. Daniel Chun Him. Mayowa Olubatobi Olekotui. Tatanya Michelle Ortiz. Ramandeep Kaur Pahal. Haley Michelle Parkinson. Connor Scott Patterson. Heather Elizabeth Patterson. Elizabeth Margaret Perryman. Adam Nicholas Presuti. Chelsea Marie Rolfe. Angela Vittoria Romano. Reshma Sadhu. Ravina Samuel. Emily Ann Schutz. Stephanie Cervello. Katrina Suraya Shadikan. Mickey Hoi Chin Shum. Aranya Shivam. Stephanie Lynn Smart. Shaniel Annafaith Smith McBean. Thulashini Suryayadas. Kristen Spearan. David Stearman. Alisa Taichuri. Tiffany Sarah Jane Taylor. Monica Todorova. Spencer Alexa Trafford. Emma Hope Truman. Anna Marie Turner. Joseph Vella. Daniel Vujovic. Alexandra Ward. Alisa Catherine Welsh. Katie Whidden. Nicholas Russell Wilson. Sevas Gavin Wong. Jessica Christine Woodcock. Tanya Yasmin. Holly Zhou. Javinda Parmar.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would now like to introduce Mr. Philip Badawi from the Social Psychology program, who will be delivering the valedictory address.
Thank you, Dr. Wilkinson. I'm sure the majority of you are thinking, who is this guy? Well, as an introspective social psychology student, I would ask myself the same question. Who am I? I like it. You guys actually laughed at that one. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Philip Badawi. However, the question of who am I is neglecting the real question of the day. Who are we? We are the 2015 graduating class from McMaster University, Faculty of Social Sciences. Congratulations to all of you. To be mindful of where we are today, I think we should all give thanks to the people who made this all possible. I would like to thank my high school sweetheart, Tina Lully, for always supporting me, and my parents, which, as NBA superstar Kevin Durant would say, are the real MVPs. Before any event in my life, like a basketball game, soccer game, exam, or the far and few between job interviews, my mom would always say to me, Phil, be the best you can be. And that sentiment remains with me today. But I would like to extend the zenith, the apex of thank yous to the professors, faculty members, the students, and of course, my class of social psychology students, for being a part of the greatest experience I ever had, and for making this school feel like a community filled with like-minded, strong-minded, open-minded, and bright-minded students, something you all need to be reminded. Making this community feel more like a home exploding with diversity, but despite all of our differences, we all share this moment. A moment of recognizing our success, a moment to remember the countless all-nighters that were spent at Mills Library. A moment we all truly deserve. Back to the real question of the day. Who are we? Are we the ones that buy gym memberships for the Pulse and then become too busy in March and April to go? Maybe that one's just me. Are we the ones to celebrate our very own Terry Marshall for her outstanding enthusiasm at Tim Hortons? Are we the ones to regret walking by Willy Dog without buying those delicious Willies? Guilty. Are we the ones that feel unsatisfied that McMaster finally changes solar now that we are graduating? I'll take that as a yes. Looking around this room, I am humbled by the faces of my colleagues, the fellow students that I had the privilege of getting to know throughout my classes. I'm confident that any one of you could have been up here today delivering your address. However, it has come to my attention that some of you have denied this experience for yourself out of fear. Fear of speaking in front of others, fear of trying and then coming up short, or a fear of making a fool out of yourself. Let me tell you, that last one, not so bad. This is why I want to reflect back with you all on our first-year selves, and I would like to offer myself as an example. On move-in day in first year, as my car was pulling up to Brandon Hall, I was unexpectedly bombarded by a large group of cheerful reps who literally pulled me out of my car and emphatically chanted my name at the top of their lungs, singing how much they loved me. I stood there, absolutely shocked, but surprisingly able to embrace the moment. This would be the first moment where I felt integrated into the Mac community, accurately foreshadowing my next 4 years at Mac. I thought to myself, this was one of the best moments of my life, even though I was filled with anxiety of what's to come. Fast forward to now, as I stand here today, filled with that same anxiety, I look out to all of your faces, and I'm reminded of the same feeling of a warm and welcoming community that I felt when I was pulled out of my car. If I let fear stop me from making this speech, I wouldn't be here in this moment. So, at the risk of sounding mawkish, I hope you will not let fear get in the way of you capitalizing on the opportunities presented to you and to achieve what you want in your life. Or, to paraphrase the well-known philosopher, Eminem, you have one moment. Will you capture it or just let it slip? Yo. Before we leave here today and enter a world full of promising opportunities, I want to conclude this by extending the same advice my mom has always given me. Everyone, be the best you can be. Thank you for listening.
May I again call upon our President, Dr. Patrick Dean, who will present the President's Award of Excellence in Student Leadership.
Would Krista Jonathan please come forward? I'm just going to embarrass you briefly. Krista Jonathan is a model scholar, campus leader, and community advocate. Since beginning her studies at the university, she has worked tirelessly to forge new relationships and partnerships between McMaster and her home community, Kanien'kehá:ka Mohawk of the Six Nations of the Grand River Territory. When it comes to fostering community engagement and transferring knowledge outside the classroom, Krista represents everything we try to instill in our students. Nowhere is this more apparent than in Krista's involvement with McMaster's Aboriginal Health Task Force, Health Sciences. In her role with the task force, she serves as the youth student voice on critical issues such as program policy, practices, and student services, and seeks to ensure the engagement and support of Aboriginal peoples within these systems. Additionally, Krista has occupied a number of important roles both on and off campus, including as a mentor in McMaster's Aboriginal Mentorship Program, as Six Nations youth leader, former president of the McMaster First Nations Student Association, former Miss Six Nations, a community ambassador position, and as a volunteer with the university's Let's Talk Science and MacServe initiatives. And last year, she completed a one-year term at the University of Leeds in England as part of the Mac Abroad Student Exchange Program. In addition to co-authoring 2 collaborative presentations with the Aboriginal Students' Health Sciences Office, she has earned the Ganakwasa Acknowledgement Award, the Brantford Alumni Branch Community Contribution Award, a Ruby Searles Scholarship, the Assumption College Lion Award, the Ontario Scholar Award, and numerous additional honors. Congratulations, Krista.
What a great achievement. Really well deserved. We'll pose for a picture, won't you? Well done, Krista.
May I call upon Dr. Charlotte Yates, Dean of the Faculty of Social Sciences, who will be presenting the J.E.L. Graham Medal and the R.C. McIver Medal.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I present the winner of the J.E.L. Graham Medal for Outstanding Academic Achievements as a part-time student in the Faculty of Social Sciences. It is with great pleasure that I announce this year's recipient is Deborah Raime. I am also pleased to announce the winner of the R.C. McIver Medal, which is awarded for outstanding academic achievement in the Faculty of Social Sciences. The winner of this award is Peter DeMaio. Congratulations.
May I introduce Ms. Sandra Stevenson, President of the McMaster Alumni Association, who will now deliver the Alumni Association address.
Chancellor Labarge, President Dean, McMaster faculty, fellow alumni, honored guests, and members of the McMaster class of 2015. McMaster Alumni Association is both a custodian of tradition and a champion of the next big thing. We are equally about the grads who have been part of McMaster family for 8 decades and the 35% of Mac alumni who were born after the release of E.T. and Rocky III. While much has changed over the decades, we also know that many things in the Mac alumni family are constant. Good advice, for example, is often timeless. So I would like to read to you from a message written by our university president to McMaster's newest alumni. I think the message would be as applicable 6 or 7 decades ago as it is today. Good alumni, he wrote, are a combination of advertisement, scout, correspondence, and benefactor. They are advertisements because of their own achievements, and success in profession, business, or in public reputation is a priceless contribution that graduates can make. Alumni who are good scouts, in the sense they are always on the watch for good students to direct to McMaster, are invaluable assets, and many graduates can do much to guarantee succession. To be good correspondents means simply keeping in touch with the alumni office in such matters as change of address and personal news about occupation and family. And beyond this, there is the opportunity to join the noble company of benefactors who help to guarantee that coming generations of students will have better facilities than we had in our day. Members of the class of 2015, these are the words of your president, President George P. Gilmore, and the passages I read are from a message he wrote for the April 1951 edition of the McMaster Alumni News. Today, his overall message is certainly relevant, but the tools the Alumni Association uses are far more varied than they were just 6 years after the end of World War II. In your alumni lives, you will receive the alumni magazine, the McMaster Times, which wouldn't seem out of place in the 50s, but you'll also be part of the association's online community. Follow the association on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, or Flickr, or access value-added services like home, auto, and life insurance. You can also join your fellow alumni at one of the hundreds of events we organize annually in Hamilton, across Canada, and around the world. Follow the advice of your new friend, Mac, you met backstage. Complete the How Maroon Are You quiz, and then visit mac10.ca to learn about all the opportunities for new grads. And I'll stop the sales pitch there. I do hope, however, that you will participate somehow at some time. When you are ready, the McMaster Alumni Association will be there for you, offering you a wide range of ways to find your path back to your alma mater. So, to the class of 2015, I offer my most sincere congratulations on your academic accomplishments, on your graduation, and on your first moments as members of the McMaster alumni family. Congratulations, welcome, and remember, once a marauder, always a marauder.
May I invite Dr. Dean back to the podium to deliver his President's address.
Graduates, I'm going to do a riff on two themes that were established by your valedictorian today. Philip posed initially the question, who are we? And towards the end of his talk, he spoke about fear and the fears that need to be overcome. So I'll begin with the question of who are we, more generally put. It can't have escaped your notice that you're leaving McMaster at a time when the value of a university education, and by implication the obligations of institutions like ours, is being hotly debated, not only in Canada but elsewhere in North America and in Europe as well. Broadly speaking, the argument one hears in Ottawa, Queen's Park, and certainly in the mainstream media, is that universities need to be more responsive to the policy-driven demands of government that they need to be focused, above all else, on preparing young people to enter the workforce, and that they need to concentrate on the immediate needs of the economy, as well as the short-term career aspirations of the graduate. Now, its critics dismiss this as a narrowly instrumental approach to higher education and argue for a much broader view in which the aim is not merely to train, but to educate the student. As you leave the university today, I hope you feel prepared to take up the cause for that latter view. A university is a university precisely because it does not exist exclusively to serve short-term societal or economic goals. Institutions like ours operate on both the short and the long horizon. On the one hand, they train students to go out into the world with both general and specific skills necessary to the well-being of society. They work with contemporary problems, and they render appropriate the discoveries and understanding that they generate. On the other hand, they forage in realms of abstraction and domains of inquiry that may not appear immediately relevant to others, but have the proven potential to yield great future benefit. Now, those last words come from a document issued nearly a decade ago by the League of European Research Universities. But their equivalent is to be found in another document, the Magna Charta Universitatum, which McMaster University signed in 2014. In that document, we are told this, a quote, "Freedom in research and training is the fundamental principle of university life, and governments and universities, each as far as in them lies, must ensure respect for this fundamental requirement. Rejecting intolerance and always open to dialogue, a university is an ideal meeting ground for teachers capable of imparting their knowledge and well-equipped to develop it by research and innovation, and for students entitled, able, and willing to enrich their minds with that knowledge." You have all demonstrated yourselves both able and willing, and you have undoubtedly been enriched in ways that are apparent to you today, and in other ways of which you're possibly unaware, but which will reveal themselves in the many years to come. But in the context of the present debate about the purpose and nature of universities, narrowly instrumental on the one hand or broadly educational on the other, I wonder how many of you are aware that behind the program of study each of you has pursued, however professional and narrowly defined that program may at times have seemed to students in different parts of the university, stands not a consensus curriculum developed by ministry bureaucrats indifferent to the intellectual assets and missions of individual institutions, but instead a record of research and reflection, particular to McMaster University and the scholars who work here, both to educate you and to advance their disciplines through research conducted to the highest standards. At McMaster, as at any research-intensive institution, we regard the work of educating students and of extending the boundaries of knowledge through research as inseparable and mutually reinforcing activities. However much we may endorse the notion that institutions like ours exist for the advancement of the nation's well-being and must be key contributors to societal and economic development, we demur at the narrow or reductive application of this idea. We do not accept, in other words, that the value of the university consists entirely or even principally in its ability to deliver outcomes as mandated by government from time to time. This is not to say that we're indifferent to those outcomes or that we will not work to deliver them. Instead, it means that we are, and must always be, focused on the bigger picture of the individual and the longer view of our society. We offer education rather than job training. We're interested in asking questions as well as applying the answers we have found. We strive to maintain dynamic connections between theory and practice, wisdom and technical knowledge, and we approach the world with a desire to see and to understand it whole. Coincidentally, that means that universities are exactly what a knowledge society needs, and the outcomes mandated by government will in all likelihood be delivered. But that does not mean that the value of universities is reducible to the sum of social, economic, or governmental needs at the present time. Now, you will each have had experiences during your time at McMaster that opened a window on the kind of place that this is, on the kind of activities above, beyond, and yet integrated with your experiences in the classroom that define us as an institution and that proclaim us as a university. Some students, for example, may have watched an intervention in a clinical setting that was original, effective, and clearly influenced by their professor's research. Students may have visited or even worked in their professor's laboratory and imbibed firsthand the patience and discipline required to conduct meaningful inquiry, as well as the excitement of discovery. You students may have sat in surprised astonishment as your instructor in cultural studies or sociology ascended into the intellectual stratosphere, the issue or the text then under discussion having intersected with his or her decades-long mental engagement with a particular aspect of the subject. These are the epiphanies by which the research life of the university discloses itself to its members every day, even to those students whose degree requirements do not allow much lateral investigation, whose focus is comparatively narrow, prescribed by accreditation, or simply very technical. But were you to set out to explore that research life of the university in all its richness, you would discover why it is that McMaster has for years been consistently ranked as one of the top 100 universities in the world, and why your degree from this institution will bring you respect, recognition, and yes, the things we all want from our lives, the potential for a successful and effective career and a lifetime of learning and discovery. Even if you're not always aware of it or able to articulate what it means, you are the product of a research-focused institution and one no less student-centered for being so. And the ethos of such an institution, with its focus on curiosity, investigation, evidence, and analysis, is precisely that which equips you for long-term success in your life beyond this ceremony, for the betterment of mankind and our world, as our honorary degree recipient said earlier today. If, prompted by those in-class epiphanies which I mentioned, you were to begin more systematically to probe the research dimension of McMaster, it's interesting to reflect where your journey would take you. It might take you into any one of our more than 50 research institutes and centers, from the Michael G. de Groot Institute for Infectious Disease Research to the Brockhaus Institute for Materials Research, from the Cannes Child Center for Childhood Disability Research to the Center for Functional Genomics, from the Center for Peace Studies to the Farncombe Family Digestive Health Research Institute, from the Gilbrea Center for Studies in Aging to the Institute on Globalization and the Human Condition, to the McMaster Center for Music and the Mind, or the Origins Institute, and I could go on. You might, if you are of that sort of bent, want to investigate such facilities as the high-throughput screening laboratory, the electron microscopy facility in the Faculty of Health Science, the McMaster Nuclear Reactor, the Public Economics Data Laboratory, and the Geographical Information Systems Laboratory. Do you know that in the basement of the Mills Library can be found one of the most outstanding scholarly resources in Canada, the William Reddy Division of Archives and Research Collections. There you will discover manuscripts, radio and television scripts and correspondence by the Irish playwright Samuel Beckett, the papers of Canadian historian Pierre Burton, 36.5 shelf meters of manuscripts, diaries, and other materials relating to Vera Brittain, the British writer, lecturer, pacifist, and feminist. You'll find also there the papers of Farley Mowat, 18th century British military manuscripts, journals, and newsletters, a host of valuable and illuminating documents vitally important for primary research in the humanities, the social sciences, and many other fields. And occupying pride of place in the basement of Mills Library are the Bertrand Russell Archives, an unparalleled collection of primary and secondary materials relating to Bertrand Russell, the British philosopher, logician, and essayist who won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1950. Visit Mills, you can sit at Russell's desk. You can peruse his library. You can admire the wing chair in which he sat to read. And doing so, you can explore the world of the 20th century, its politics, its social currents, its literature, philosophy. The Russell Archive is a priceless resource for research in the humanities, in history and politics. And like the labs, centers, and institutes which I mentioned, it stands as testimony to the seriousness with which McMaster University has committed itself over the last 128 years to the discovery of knowledge. It embodies, facilitates, and testifies to that broader view of the university's mission to which I referred at the outset, insisting by its presence that we not concede to the narrowly instrumental role governments and our society would from time to time seek to impose on us. The Russell Archive literally does testify to the importance of that broader view, for in Russell's writings you will find a description of the goal of the university, which I hope you will always remember, and which I hope you will seek to uphold as you establish yourselves in your careers and claim your rightful place as leaders in our province, our country, and beyond. In an essay from the late 50s entitled University Education, Russell wrote this. This is a quote. "Truth is a shining goddess, always veiled, always distant, never wholly approachable, but worthy of all the devotion of which the human spirit is capable." Your university education may have trained you in degrees to some extent specific skills, but its unique and longest lasting gift to you will be to have kindled your curiosity about truth and your joy in discovery. This is where I turn to the second of Philip's themes, fear. It is important to say these things and to know these things about the university and about yourselves, because outside of the university family, the benefits of this unique milieu are not well enough understood. Indeed, even when they are understood, they are sometimes also feared. And there is no better explanation for the cause of that fear than this observation, again, by Bertrand Russell. It's another quote. "Men fear thought as they fear nothing else on earth, more than ruin, more even than death. Thought is subversive and revolutionary, destructive and terrible. Thought is merciless to privilege, to established institutions, and to comfortable habits. Thought is anarchic and lawless, indifferent to authority, careless of the well-tried wisdom of the ages. Thought looks into the pit of hell and is not afraid. It sees man a feeble speck surrounded by unfathomable depths of silence, yet it bears itself proudly, as unmoved as if it were Lord of the universe. Remember this: thought is great and swift and free, the light of the world and the chief glory of man. You are all the products of an institution devoted above all else to thought. And paradoxically, your ability to shape a stable, healthy, and equitable nation in the future will depend on the degree to which you have learned and internalized the corrosive, subversive power of that supreme faculty, thought. That's my message. I hope you will turn the power of your own minds on it and on the prospects for us all in the future. Congratulations and my warmest best wishes to you all.
Congratulations to the class of 2015. As a fellow McMaster alumna, I'm looking forward to seeing where you all go from here. As Ms. Stevenson said so eloquently, you're all now graduates and members of this wonderful group of alumni. And I just want to emphasize that since last week I spent some time at the alumni reunions that were being held here on campus. And the one I got to speak to a certain amount was those who were celebrating 50 years out of McMaster. And I know that's a long way off for all of you. But what struck me were the friendships that had been formed, the ones that still held after 50 years, and that were incredibly valued. And this was in a time when the only way you kept in touch, if you didn't live in the next street, was to write letters or make expensive long-distance phone calls. You've got other tools now to keep in touch with your friends, and all I can do is, this is a wonderful community that you belong to. Please don't lose touch with it. You'll, as they always say, your oldest friends are often your best friends. And Dr. Dean, you've given us a lot to think about. And when I think of what Dr. Dean said, I look at, and this is sort of my professional disformation, if you want to call it malformation, is I've been watching the situation in Greece since I worked in Europe and lived in Europe for a while. And I watched the political and financial dysfunction and become very grateful that I'm a Canadian. But what really shook me was a couple of months ago reading about their new Minister of Education, who decided to reverse all the reforms that had been made to try and improve the university structure in Greece. He eliminated any entrance exams, eliminated any need to ever graduate or any discipline along the way, eliminated, in fact, demanded that all foreign professors be sent home. But what shocked me, I think, the most, and this is from a country who gave us democracy, who had beautiful architecture, culture, right, is he said, I do not believe or endorse the concept of excellence in education. And I thought about how important that is to us here in Canada. And as we're seeing, we're beginning to possibly disagree about what education is, or maybe what excellence in education is. But we do value education. As I keep saying, sometimes probably not to the extent that the government would wish to fund it, but we do fundamentally believe that education is our future. Your parents didn't send you here to get a skill. They sent you here to allow you to explore, to learn, to see what you wanted to be and how you wanted to live. That is something incredibly precious. But out of that, what you learned and what you got was you weren't taught skills. You were allowed to share other people's knowledge. You were taught how to learn. And skills rapidly become obsolete. Knowing how to learn is what allows you to move with the shifting sands of time and the jobs that go with those. And I think we need, as Dr. Dean says, to make sure that that is there for the future. It's what makes this country what it is. It's what's going to allow us to continue to be great. And I can only endorse his ideas. You have to be part of this discussion to make us a better country. On that note, I want to wish you all the very best in whatever you choose to do. Now, I have just a couple of housekeeping items to tell you about before we close. Immediately following the ceremony, a reception will be held for the graduates and their guests in the Hamilton Convention Center, Wentworth Room B and C. Flowers that have been delivered for graduates will be available at the coat check in the main lobby. I would ask that you please remain standing at your seats until the academic procession and the graduates have left the hall. Finally, please join now in the singing of our national anthem. After the singing of the anthem, this convocation stands adjourned.